Good morning, all of my Nutraharmony friends and family. Welcome. I'm super happy that you're here with me this early morning. Today we are actually going to be talking about something that truly affects every single part of, I feel like, everyone's life, right? And that is sleep. Everyone needs good sleep. We need to sleep well, right? So this live is called Sleep Better Tonight, Nutraharmony Nighttime Reset Live. And what I want this to be is for you, not just to be informative, but kind of a reset. Because sometimes when you get in that broken sleep pattern mode, you definitely, well, at least I do personally, I feel like I need a reset to kind of get me back to that better sleep pattern. It ends up being not so much fun, to get yourself out of that broken sleep pattern. So we have a lot to talk about, just about 30 minutes to go through it. But this is also about a reset for your evenings, because yes, how you wind down the night before and how you try to kind of eliminate those screens, the distractions, the bright light, things like that, that all affects how you sleep that night. So we're just going to go over just some basics and very simple steps, but also some really incredible supplements that can help to reset that routine for you, your evening routine and your sleep routine. And honestly, a reset for how your body feels when it's time to actually go to sleep. Because honestly, let's just talk really real for a second. How many of you actually feel tired during the day? But then when it's time to actually go to sleep, your body does not cooperate, right? Or your mind continues to be on a constant scroll. That's 100% me. I can be physically exhausted, but my mind is just very much alert and constantly like scrolling, tasks, things that I need to do. Just, if you know, right? So you lay down and you're suddenly, your mind is super active, even though you are exhausted. You start to replay conversations and you're thinking about tomorrow and your list of things to do. And you're probably planning all the things for tomorrow that you didn't get done today, right? It's like, where did all this energy come from? I'm now laying down trying to go to sleep, and now I'm super awake and alert, right? At least mentally. Or maybe you're someone who falls asleep really quickly, but you wake up in the middle of the night. This is me personally. I'm very much exhausted by the end of the evening. So when I lay my head down, I typically don't have any problem going to sleep, but I've been known to only sleep for 2 hours, and then you wake up to go to the restroom or something, or you get woke up, just from like my dog snores, for instance. Anybody else out there have a dog that snores? He sleeps in our bedroom and he snores like my husband snores. Anyway, something will wake you up, and that's when you just have a really bad, a really difficult time going back to sleep. Or how about if you wake up in the morning and you think, okay, I know I slept, but I just don't feel rested, all of these apply. And that honestly is super frustrating when, you have broken sleep patterns and you think to yourself, okay, well, if I can get to a point where I sleep well throughout the night, it'll be better. And then you sleep well, but you still wake up feeling groggy, because you did this thing, you went to bed, but your body didn't actually get what it needed. That's the key, and here's what I want you to understand. Your body is not broken. There's nothing wrong. It's just working against you. It doesn't feel safe enough, supported enough, relaxed enough to fully go into that deep restorative sleep. So much of this has to do with many things. Your parasympathetic nervous state, your fight or flight response, your cortisol levels, things like that. That's what we're going to touch on a little bit, each one of those today. And that is what we are going to hopefully inspire you to change. So we're going to talk about how to support your body in a way that really helps it naturally wind down and relax, and then naturally move into sleep in a much more natural state, as our bodies are intended to do. So we're not forcing it. It's nothing that's a sedative. We're not knocking ourselves out in any way, but we are actually supporting our system. So before I get too far ahead of myself, I want you guys to, I just have to put this disclaimer out there. These live streams are for informational purposes only. They are never ever intended as medical advice. If you have any underlying health conditions, please always consult your healthcare provider before you start any new health supplement into your regime. That's always a safe practice to keep. And also something really exciting, the brand has agreed to provide all of our live stream viewers with a pretty massive discount, a 25% 13% off discount. That applies to everything on top of discounts that are already happening. Like for instance, the sleep support capsules in the very front of the product carousel, that's 13% off right now. If you use the NHLive25 promo code at checkout, you're going to get an additional 25% off of that, which is fantastic. Now, the catch is this is only a one-time use promo code. So definitely start pulling all of your items onto, into your cart and try to really think and consider what you want, what you think would work best for your body, and then go ahead and make that purchase with NHLive25. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's in the comment section, and it's also scrolling across the bottom of each of my screens, or my scenes within the screen. So definitely don't forget to use that. That is a fantastic deal. That's also the largest discount that, the brand has ever offered, and it's exclusively for all of you. So really, I'm going to walk you through in the next maybe 20 minutes or so, some of my favorite Nutraharmony products that help do exactly what I just mentioned. And we're going to walk through how to use them and the way that fits into your real life. So as you are here with me, just start thinking about this. What has your sleep been feeling like lately? Okay, because everything we talk about today is going to connect right back to that. Also, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. I'm here to help. We are all on this health journey together. And I have been using Nutraharmony products for probably 6 months now. And I have, of course, several of them are my absolute favorite. One of them being the GABA, which I take every single night without fail. We're going to talk about that. My husband takes the Ceylon cinnamon. We're going to talk about that also. This stuff is pretty incredible. Now, let's start with the biggest piece of the puzzle. And honestly, the one that most people very much underestimate, and that is stress, okay? And I don't just mean obvious stress. I mean the kind of stress that your body is really holding on to. The kind that is almost, I shouldn't say. Okay, so the kind that your cortisol is affected by, when you have elevated levels of cortisol, that fight or flight response, that kind of is a huge signal that your body is holding on to quite a bit of stress. It's having a difficult time managing it in your, your nervous system. So here's what happens. Your body has two main modes, and I'm gonna go ahead and switch between some graphics. I also have some recipe cards that I'll get to if we have time. Hopefully we do. But your body has two main modes. Okay, it has go mode, where you're alert, focused, active, and it has a rest mode where your body starts to repair, relax, and sleep. Here's the thing. If your body is stuck in that go mode, I call it the fight or flight response, which I feel like in this modern day time, we all walk around in a chronic state of fight or flight. Even if it's slightly, your sleep is affected that evening. It becomes very difficult. And then you get into that sleep pattern that's really difficult to get out of. Your system doesn't feel like it's time to shut down yet. And truly, in your nervous system, it really, I guess, not to get too sciencey, but you really have to practice relaxing throughout the evening and supporting your body with the certain kind of supplements that we're talking about today that really triggers and alerts your body, okay, it's time to wind down and relax. And then you would be amazed at how much better things, really just start to grow as a pattern when you sleep throughout the night, when you're supposed to be in that reparative state. And this can really show up, all of those broken sleep patterns that, your body not being ready to shut down, that can show up in many different ways. Your mind racing at night, you start to feel really restless when you try to relax, waking up throughout the night, those broken sleep patterns, or really not just feeling deeply rested when you wake up. This is where support becomes extremely important. And this is where something like the amazing organic ashwagandha capsules really can make a noticeable difference, my friends. Now, let's talk about what this actually does, but in a simple way. So ashwagandha it's what's called an adaptogen. I've been fascinated by ashwagandha for a long time. I have a background in psychology, and I remember, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, how long has it been since I've been in college? In many of my psychology classes, we study the mind. We study the power, the ability, and the cognitive level. And so much of it in one particular class kept referring back to adaptogenic solutions, even back then. ashwagandha has been around for centuries, okay? And I'm extremely thankful that as a modern day society, we are trying to become more aware of how this incredible adaptogenic herb can really help in such an amazing way. You know, what an adaptogen is basically it helps your body respond to stress more efficiently. It truly does. So it helps your body learn to manage that stress, not by forcing anything, not by sedating you, but by helping your body find its balance and its rhythm again, specifically within your nervous system. So instead of your system, you know, staying in that fight or flight state, that on mode all of the time, it starts to come back down, okay? It starts to be reminded that we don't need to live with those elevated cortisol levels. We can, you know, manage stress, and it starts to lower. So when that happens, you will notice small shifts at first. You know, you might feel a little calmer in the evening. You might not feel as reactive to stress during the day. A lot of people love to take this stuff, you know, like midday, late morning, if they have a really demanding, very fast-paced, high-stress job. And then a lot of people love to take it at night, you know, like with their evening meal. So it starts to remind their nervous system that it's okay to calm down and relax throughout the evening. You know, all of those small shifts that you're going to experience once you start being consistent with ashwagandha, they are actually big signals to your nervous system, because that's your body saying, okay, I'm starting to be aware. I'm starting to realize that it's safe enough to relax now. And really, that's the goal, friends. You're not trying to force sleep. You're not trying, you know, to create conditions where sleep can happen naturally. Now, I want to talk about evenings for a second. So are you going straight from busy to trying to sleep? Because that's what I do. I just kind of go throughout the entire day. And then I'm like, okay, it's time to go to bed. I'm exhausted. And I hit the pillow. That transition matters, and I'm trying to get better at that. So when you support your body with something like the ashwagandha capsules, you are helping create a much smoother transition from your day into your night. And you're telling your body it's okay to slow down now, you know, and that's where better sleep really begins. Your better sleep starts the evening, okay, before you actually try to go to sleep. Now that we've talked about calming the body, next we're going to kind of talk about calming the mind, okay, because that's a whole different process, and this is where a lot of people feel the biggest shift. So now that we've talked about you know, many things throughout the body and the nervous system, let's go ahead and shift to, you know, when you're physically tired, your body can be ready for rest, but if your mind is still overreactive, you know, right? If you know, you know, sleep becomes incredibly difficult. And this is where people often feel stuck. So you lay down, everything is quiet. Let me go ahead and switch to my other graphic. Instead of relaxing, your thoughts just start to get louder and louder, right? You start thinking about everything under the sun, everything that you didn't get done. You replay conversations, you start planning for tomorrow, you know, all of the to-do lists that you didn't get done that day. And it just probably feels like you can't turn your brain off, right? That is not a lack of discipline. There's nothing wrong with your mind. That is a nervous system issue. It's still overreactive, even though you are supposed to be resting. This is where support specifically from GABA with L-Theanine really can make a difference. And this is a product that I take consistently without fail every single evening, actually anywhere between like 7 to 9. And really, it doesn't matter the timing for me. I just take it before I go to bed. If I have nothing else to do for the evening, I'll take it like with my evening meal so I can really relax for the rest of the evening. And again, it works in the complete opposite way that a sedative does. So don't ever worry about this, you know, making you feel groggy or a zombie-like. It does not work in that way, I promise you. But let me go ahead and I'm going to pop that up on the product carousel. These are the GABA with L-Theanine. This is pretty incredible. Also, vitamin B6 and magnesium is included. Here's the thing about GABA. GABA is a neurotransmitter in your brain that is responsible mainly for calming things down, okay? It helps to slow down that brain activity so that you can really, your system can shift out of that alert state of mind and that overthinking mode. And then you have the L-Theanine, which works alongside the GABA to help promote a sense of relaxation, but without making you feel heavy or groggy, which is really important. So together, what they're doing is helping your mind soften, okay? not shutting down, not knocking you out, just soften. And that's what allows your body to really flow into a restful, reparative state when you sleep, because sleep isn't something that you force. It's something that you, your body, your mind really has to give permission. It has to allow, okay? And what I love about the GABA with L-Theanine is that it supports that natural process. It just helps take the edge off that mental activity, so you're not laying there feeling wired when you're supposed to be winding down. I feel like these, I take 2 every night before I go to bed. I feel like this is pretty, honestly, it's probably the major reason why I'm able to fall asleep so fast, because it really just, it's amazing. It just kind of relaxing that nervous system and helping your mind to just be in a relaxive state. Now, I want you to think about your own experience. So have you ever laid down and thought, why am I still awake? I'm exhausted. Why am I still laying here wide awake? That's exactly the kind of moment that this support is designed for, okay? It helps kind of bridge that gap between being tired and actually falling asleep, and it works wonders for me. You know, when your mind starts to feel a bit quieter, you'll notice something really important happens. Your body starts to relax more deeply, okay? Your breathing starts to slow down. Your muscles release that tension, and you begin to kind of drift into sleep a lot more naturally. And I have 100% experienced that. So that's the shift that we're looking for, friends, right? Now, I do want to build on that. I've got about 10 more minutes, so I'm going to speed things up a little bit. But I want to build on that, you know, because calming your mind is one piece of the puzzle, but helping your body actually move into sleep and stay there is quite another. And that is where the nighttime sleep support capsules come in. And friends, these just happen to be 13% off right now. Plus, if you use that NH Live 25, that major discount that we've never offered that big of a discount before, and it's exclusively for you, you will be able to use it on top of that already 13% off discounted price. But this is where your nighttime support becomes layered, okay? And in order to get into a better state of rest and help with my sleep patterns, I had to do kind of a multi-layered approach. Sometimes I still do that if I've been extra wired during the day, but sleep isn't just a, you know, one moment. It's actually a process. It's kind of a transition. It's the transition into sleep, I should say. And then it's staying in that restful, reparative state long enough for your body to actually start to restore itself. That is when all of the good stuff happens. You know, we detox, our body flushes out, we repair on a cellular level. That's why sleep is so important. And this is where the sleep support capsules come in. So these really are designed to work with your body's natural sleep rhythm, okay? They help to support that transition from being awake into being asleep, but in a way that feels a lot smoother and more natural, in completely the opposite of a sedative, you know, way. So instead of that back and forth feeling where you're almost asleep, but then you just pop right, you know, awake again, your body is able to move into that sleep a lot more steadily. And one of the things that people often notice when they start using something like this is that they don't just fall asleep easier, they actually stay asleep more consistently, and they wake up less during the night. Now, when they do wake up, you know, they're able to fall asleep more easily. I'm trying to really drink a lot of water throughout the day. I'm aiming for a gallon a day, and I have yet to accomplish that because I feel like that's all you do is you go to the restroom every like 30 minutes. So that has also kind of affected my sleep a little bit. But amazingly, I've been able to, you know, get up 2 and 3 times to use the restroom at night, which is, I need to work on. I need to stop drinking water like at a certain time in the evening and hopefully decrease those amounts of restroom breaks while I sleep. But my point is, I'm able to go back asleep more easily, and that's important. That's a big deal because broken sleep patterns can feel just as exhausting as not sleeping well at all, right? You've tossed and turned all night. Now, here's where everything starts to come together. When you combine the organic ashwagandha, let me pull those up again. When you combine the organic ashwagandha for stress support with the GABA, I take 2 of those every single night to calm the mind, and then you layer in that sleep support, which is 13% off, you guide your body into sleep. It's a multi-layered approach, okay? So you're not just relying on one thing. You're supporting your body at every single stage of the process. And that's what creates that real difference, because your body doesn't need to be forced into sleep. You know, it just needs to feel supported enough to relax and wind down. When that happens, your sleep becomes easier, it becomes deeper, and it definitely can transition your body into that reparative, restorative state, which is hugely important. Now, we're going to go ahead and move into one of the most important pieces of all. And this is where many people notice that most immediate, like physical difference when it comes to relaxing at night, and that is magnesium. Magnesium is an incredible thing, right? It is such a fantastic mineral. We are also going to go over just a simple nighttime ritual that you can actually start tonight. That kind of ties everything together in a way that feels calming, comforting, just easy to stay consistent with. Now, I want to move on to, of course, the magnesium, okay? It's one of those nutrients that your body uses constantly. It's one of the quickest resources to deplete, especially when we are overly stressed. Now, it supports your nervous system. Yes, we know that, but it helps you relax and it helps your muscles relax as well. It plays a huge role in helping your body transition out of that alert, overreactive state, that fight or flight, into a calmer, restful one. And the thing is, a lot of people are not getting enough magnesium consistently, right? So what happens is your body stays more tense. Your shoulders draw up, your neck, you get tension in your neck and your head. You might feel tightness throughout your shoulders, restlessness in your legs, you know, or just overall that feeling of not being able to fully relax. So even those times when you really want to, you just can't get your mind to cooperate and your body to cooperate. That's why adding magnesium into your nighttime routine can really feel like, you know, a noticeable difference. Now, with Nutraharmony, they have two really amazing options depending upon what your body needs. So the first option that I want to go over is the magnesium 5 times complex. Okay, and I have that here. Love this stuff. This is like all of the top 5 best magnesiums all into, you know, a capsule form. All right, it includes multiple forms of magnesium that support different functions within your body. So this is kind of a full spectrum approach, this right here. You know, it's supporting your muscle relaxation, it's supporting your nervous system balance, it's supporting just that overall recovery, but all at once. And then you have the magnesium glycinate. Let me go ahead and flip to that. Magnesium glycinate is known for being especially calming and very easy on the stomach. So if you have been sensitive to magnesium in the stomach or your gut, this is a form that really a lot of people love. It's the form that's often preferred at night because it's very gentle and it's very absorbable. And it really, really supports that relaxed, kind of ready for sleep feeling. So if you're someone who feels like your body just will not wind down at night, magnesium glycinate can really be a key piece of that. And what I love is how easy it is to incorporate, of course, because that's where, you know, that's where we turn it into a ritual. You know, it's a capsule. You just need a little water. Not just something you take, but something that you actually experience. So I want to just quickly switch to a sleepy magnesium cinnamon latte, nighttime latte, I should say. Let me go ahead and switch to that. The Ceylon cinnamon capsules are, of course, available. My husband takes one of these consistently every single day. These are incredible for blood sugar balance, but let me walk you through a really simple nighttime ritual that you can start doing tonight that can kind of turn into your sleepy time, you know, glow latte. Yes, these are super easy. You can just pop one capsule with some water. But again, when we provide intentionality around a new habit that we're trying to form, that ritual, like making this cinnamon glow latte, it really can help to form that new habit. Your mind just thinks it's something ritualistic and something a little more fun, so it starts to develop that new neuropathway a lot quicker. And really, this is one of those small habits that can completely change how your body feels before you go to bed. You know, start with a cup of warm almond milk or any kind of milk, plant-based milk, any kind of milk of your choice, not too hot, just warm enough to feel comforting. There is something about the absorbability of warm liquids and the warmth that already starts signaling to your body that it's time to slow down. So then you take one Nutraharmony cinnamon capsule and you gently break it open. You sprinkle that right into your almond milk. I use a little frother, froth it around. It gives that warm grounding flavor that just feels calming and comforting, and like your body's, okay, I'm needing to relax now. Cinnamon just has that effect. Then you add a small splash of vanilla. You could also add a little bit of honey or maple syrup, just enough to give it that soft sweetness. Stir it around. Really take a moment here to kind of breathe in and slow down, because this is not about rushing. This is about creating a transition from the day into the evening into the night. So as you start to sip your cinnamon glow nighttime latte, you could also, you've put one cinnamon capsule in the latte, you could definitely take one of your magnesium capsules, okay? Either your magnesium 5 times complex or your magnesium glycinate capsules, depending on which you prefer. What you're doing in that moment is you're supporting your body from the inside out. You have the warmth, you have the calming ingredients, you have the magnesium supporting your nervous system. So your body starts to recognize this pattern once you become consistent at it. It starts to really associate this moment with slowing down, with relaxing, and getting ready for sleep. And that, my friends, is powerful, because honestly, routines create signals, and your body responds to signals, especially over time. It gets to know them. It likes them. Your body and your mind especially thrives on a routine. So this becomes far more than just a nighttime drink. It becomes kind of a cue for your body to start letting go of the day. So as we wrap up this morning, hopefully you've been thinking about, approaching your sleep better, right? Because for so many people, sleep just feels very much unpredictable. Some nights are okay, some nights are definitely not. Let me go ahead. I'm going to switch back and forth between, we have about 4 minutes left. I'm going to just give you guys a few recipes that you can grab a screenshot of if you would like, just to help further support your body in other areas. Some of these recipes really don't have anything to do with sleep, but I always love giving people those options, because everybody likes a delicious lunchtime smoothie, right? The truth is, your body is always trying to move toward balance, okay? It just needs to be supported sometimes. So when you support your stress response with, for instance, the organic ashwagandha, friends, your body can start to come out of that constant fight or flight mode, that go mode, that constantly on mode, okay? When you use when you start to calm your mind with the GABA that includes the L-Theanine, you make it easier, so much easier to quiet those racing thoughts at night. And then when you kind of help guide your body into sleep, with the sleep support capsules, you really start to create a smoother transition into deeper rest. And when you relax, your body, especially with the magnesium 5-time complex capsules or the glycinate capsules, you start to give your body that physical support that it truly needs to unwind. When you pair that with the simple ritual, like for instance, your nighttime ritual glow latte, okay, your cinnamon glow latte, you're not just hoping for better sleep, you're actually creating the conditions for it, if that makes sense. And this is where the change starts to begin. So if you've been feeling tired, if you've been struggling to wind down, you're not alone. If you've been waking up throughout the night, even if you feel like, okay, I think I slept well, but the morning just began and you're already feeling exhausted, this is your opportunity to start doing something different. So start simple, choose 1 or 2 pieces from this routine, and stay consistent with it. Let your body respond. Have patience with your body and your mind. Your body will respond. It will start to thank you. I promise you that. So thank you all so very much for being with me here this morning. Let me go ahead and switch back to my intro scene there. I hope that all of this kind of inspired you. I hope it gave you some clarity, and I hope it helps with a little bit of comfort when it comes to changing up your routine so that you can actually look forward to better sleep. So I wish everyone the best of the day today. Sleep well tonight, my friends, and I will see you on the next live stream. Bye for now.